Hello and welcome to today's episode of Through a Trauma-Informed Lens, Soma-Psyche-Soul. I'm Aneta Itchak and I'm your host here. Thank you so much for taking time to listen or watch to this episode. And thank you for being part of our community. It really fills my heart with gratitude that you are taking time out of your very busy schedule to connect with me here in this space. Today is a very special episode, and this is because of the time of the year that we are in. This time of the year is always really dear to my heart. So there are quite few reasons for that. The first one is that I love autumn. Absolutely love autumn. I am an autumn baby, and in few days, on the 5th of October, I am celebrating my 52nd birthday. So I am 52 in few days. As a woman who is in the early autumn of her life, I am really enjoying my life. And the reason for this is that over the last few years, I've taken time to consciously create the life and business that I absolutely love. And this is not about saying that my life is perfect. My life is not perfect. There are challenges, there are some health challenges. There are challenges in my relationships that come up. There are challenges with life situations, like my parents living in a different country. And every so often they need support. There are challenges around really sitting and living with what's going on in the world. For those of us who are highly sensitive, who have got a lot of empathy, who come from this more conscientious way of wanting to live our lives, it is a very hard time for us to watch what's happening in the world. Very, very, very difficult. I know from my own experience and from experience of supporting other women how impactful the news are, how watching so much suffering, so much conflict, so much war in the world is impacting us on a very deep level. And so life is challenging, but life is also really beautiful. And we can consciously work towards creating our businesses, growing our businesses, the way that we work with others, the way that we look after ourselves, the way that we live our lives, the way that we vote with our money. All of those things can contribute to creating life that is more aligned with our values and that feels very rich and very fulfilling in the way that we live it. And so today, I'm also celebrating the time that we are just about to start our 6th cohort of 160-hour Trauma-Informed Somatic Teacher and Coach for Women training certification. And also celebrating 5 years since I ran the first training certification. So before the somatic coaching certification, I was running trauma-informed yoga and embodied resilience teacher training. And the first big training, which was a 50-hour training at the time, then it was 80-hour, started at the beginning of October. So a lot of different celebrations, a lot of different big milestones that for me happened during this time at the beginning of October. So I want you to think about how you are feeling about this time of the year. Is it the time of the year within the wheel of year that you are enjoying, that fills you with hope and excitement and enthusiasm and inspiration and propels you moving forward excitingly embracing what's coming up? Or is it the time that maybe for you links with something that is difficult, something that comes up from your life, through your lived experience, that really brings up maybe fear or apprehension or maybe even anger? And so really knowing that is really important, because your body will remember. And so often I work with clients who forget that something happened around a certain time, and then they start experiencing all this stuff within their body. Maybe anxiety, maybe frustration or anger, maybe depression or low mood, that kind of shut down responses or activation responses. And it's only later that they realize, oh, okay, there is anniversary of something that happened. That might be grief and bereavement, that might be some kind of other event that happened, and the body remembers and the mind has forgotten. So our bodies will guide us into remembering what happened to us in the past. So for me, this time of the year is really exciting. It's like full of hope, full of possibilities, full of celebrations. When I reflect on my life and the last 10 years, the last 15 years, I can see how many changes have taken place. And I can see how once I started working really consciously with what my values are and what I want to create in my life, what's aligned, what's not aligned, what moves me more towards more state of regulation, presence, enjoyment, connection, compassion, it really changed. There are many things that have changed, but one of the things, if I think on that habits level, for example, is that 3 years ago, and again around the same time, end of September, beginning of October, I stopped drinking alcohol. I made a conscious decision, that's it. I'm not drinking alcohol. And I went through 90 days without drinking any alcohol. Not that I was drinking huge amounts of alcohol. Over the last 10 years, I really haven't drank a lot. But I got into the habit of having 1 or 2 drinks on a Friday night because my brain on a Friday night would be so buzzing. I would be wired, really tired, but really wired. I wouldn't be able to slow down my mind and slow down my body. My body would feel exhausted, but my mind would be like, really, really up here. And I was using alcohol to help me shut down the mind, numbing it out a little bit, slowing down the responses. But it would really impact me because any of you who are my age, you know that as women, when we go through perimenopause and menopause, alcohol starts impacting us in a very different way. It would really impact my sleep. So that Friday night into the Saturday and the weekend, I would sleep really badly. So on Saturday morning, I would wake up still exhausted from the overworking during the week, then really kind of groggy and this kind of hangover stuff. Like I didn't get drunk, but it still impacted me. And really kind of not very happy because alcohol is a suppressant, it's a depressant. And so really feeling a bit low, feeling pissed off with myself, still feeling really tired, feeling groggy. And so really realizing this is what I'm using alcohol for. And actually it's not working for the kind of results that I am looking for. And making a conscious decision about, what else would work? And it was back to the nervous system. It's like, okay, so this is what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to deal with the results of feeling really tired, exhausted and wired. But actually what happens to make me feel this way? And that's where the power lies. And it's like everything else. So often we deal with the symptoms, but actually what we need to look at is what led us to feel this way. And so for me, it was really this radical honesty of I'm using alcohol to get some kind of result. It's not giving me what I wanted to. I mean, initially it did. It numbs my mind a little bit, numbs my body. But then I'm even more tired and recovering from it and from the whole week of working. It was looking at how I was working, how I was creating my schedule, how I was showing up through the whole week, that then it wouldn't create that kind of state on a Friday night. And I'm really happy to say that I changed how I'm working, changed so many different things. And some of it was about letting go of things, simplifying, creating spaciousness within my working week, and letting go of some projects, letting go of the really fast pace of doing things, and then embracing a little bit more spaciousness, embracing a way of being that is aligned with my pace, with my rhythm, with my life season. And so what I really love about all of the things that I'm talking about is that whole person approach. And this is exactly what I teach in the 160-hour Trauma-Informed Somatic Teacher and Coach for Women training certification. It's exactly that, this interconnectedness of everything, the whole person approach. And I call it the integrated Soma-Psyche-Soul coaching method, because it's not just like a normal coaching approach where, yes, and I'm seeing more and more of those popping up, that it's like, yes, they talk about somatic coaching and they talk about the mindset, the growth mindset, looking at different aspects of your beliefs and how you think, how you approach things. There is also the soul aspect, the soul alignment, the purpose, the inner calling that comes with it. There is also the context of the life. There is the nervous system, obviously. But when you start bringing all of those into your daily life, amazing stuff starts to happen. Over time, you start approaching things in a different way. And this is what I experience. And this is what I see my clients experiencing again and again and again. And I find it fascinating over the last few weeks as we've come back into the kind of September and I shifted into my schedule. I've had many sessions with my one-to-one clients and in my programs in the Embodied Business Mandala mentorship and mastermind, and also in the spring cohort of the training certification. And it's just so much feedback about this has changed and I'm seeing myself doing this differently and I'm making different decisions and I'm asking for what I need in my workplace and I'm making different decisions in my business. And I'm much clearer about how I like working. And so I'm sharing that work and I'm signing new clients and I'm creating new offers and I'm taking care of myself in a different way, in a much more cyclical way. And my business is much more sustainable. And I can see how I'm making different decisions in my relationships, how I'm saying no when my body says no, how I'm saying yes when my body says yes. And it's so amazing, so amazing. And also I've heard over the last few weeks a lot of feedback about women saying, oh, I've been to this event and actually the way that it was run, it was not the best way because it was triggering people. It was not the most supportive. It wasn't trauma aware or trauma informed, and it could have been so much more transformational and so much more profound if those principles were brought into the way that it was run. Or I've been part of the spaces where how people were treating me because the way that I am, maybe there is more sensitivity, maybe there is some neurodivergence, maybe there is different cultural background, that people made me feel like there is something wrong with me because I was not the same as them, which is a very painful experience. And many of us can relate to that experience. But if you had experience of actually knowing how it feels when you are held by others, by a community of others, and accepted exactly the way that you are, not being told there is something wrong with you because you cannot fit into a certain kind of shape, then you've got points of reference. Then you know for yourself, this is what I want more of, this is what I want less of. And then you can create those spaces for others in a much easier way. And so there is loads of stuff in here, and I'm sure you can see I am so excited. I am so excited about this work. I am so grateful to be able to reflect on the last few years and how different they have been for me and for my clients, for other practitioners that I work with. Having those points of reference for me, how life has been for me when I moved to London in 1992, over 30 years ago, how confused and how lost I felt and how anxious I was and how much numbing I was doing just to escape from this uncomfortable, anxious feelings of how I was feeling, what I was experiencing. And then how I didn't know, I didn't understand all these things that I do and understand now, and how I made it that it was something wrong about me, how I felt the lack of worth and value, and how I didn't understand it, and how painful it was, and how the decisions that I was making then led, because of that lack of understanding, into more suffering, more pain, recreating the same things over and over and over again. And how now I can sit here and say, I'm so grateful with every cell of my body. And I'm so grateful for all the connections and all the feedback that I get from women, and the way that I work, the way that I live my life, not in a perfect way, but in a way that allows me to honor my needs, honor my rhythm, and hold space for others to honor their own needs and to honor their rhythm. That is a wonderful gift from life, from source, or from universe, whatever you call it. And so my invitation to you as we are going into autumn and then into winter, as we are in this last quarter of the year, is to really set your intentions for what you want to have more of in your life, in your work, in your business, in your relationships. And have it somewhere, write it down and have it somewhere where you can see it on a daily basis, where you can come back to it on a daily basis. And in a way that you can reconnect with it and embody it again and again and again, and to really honor your own rhythm. Forget about what other people are doing, how fast they are growing their business, or how much money they're making, and all of that stuff that the internet and social media are so full of. Focus on your own path. one baby step at a time. Keep coming back to self-regulation throughout the whole day. Don't do it just in the morning. Do it at least lunchtime, and then when you finish your work, and then last thing at night. If not more, I do it after everything that I do. I will be doing it after I record this video. Find the rhythm and pace that works for you. Keep coming back to it. Every time you get triggered, every time it feels like you shift into freeze or too much sympathetic activation or fight or flight, or you go into shutdown in response to something that you are doing, or the data and the info that is coming your way, or interaction with others, then come back to self-regulation. And then once you're regulated, continue with your task. When that becomes the way that you live your life, you will be able to have so much more capacity for holding anything that is coming up. I'm not talking about self-soothing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really meeting yourself where you are at, acknowledging what's going on, and then maybe what you need is self-soothing. So we're not suppressing, we're not numbing out. We have to acknowledge it first. This is what's happening for me. That needs acknowledgement. And what do I need to be with it? And then doing somatic practices. So there is another step that many of us just miss out. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you again for being part of this community. And I'm really hoping that we are able to connect and grow together, make positive social impact together within this world, because, oh my God, the world really needs it right now. And if this way of working resonates with you, you can still join our autumn 2025 cohort. Officially, we are starting on the 3rd of October, but I allow people to join till the end of October. I know some of us decide in the last moment. So if that's you and you'd like to join us, reach out to me. And I'll be happy to welcome you within our next cohort and our community. Okay, have a really, really good day. Take care for now.